All right, so we're welcome back to the second session of building a currency converter system. So can we hear me clearly, please, before we continue? Can we hear me, and can we also see my screen, please? If you can hear me and you can see my
Yeah.
screen,
Yes, sir.
all right, thank you. I was thinking I was we because we are like seven or thereabout in the previous session. So we are still waiting for like three more persons. So while we are waiting for them, is there any question like or like you had like a concern as to what we were doing earlier? So I could quickly just attend to the questions before we continue. Any question? Okay, so I want to believe there is no question then. All right, so I think I'm recording also. So I'm just going to go back to where we were, you know, initially. All right, so in the last session, we laid the foundation for um, our currency converter project, right? We installed requests, then we imported requests as a module, then we declared the variable for our API key, then the base URL is supplied to us on that exchange rate API website. So because we want to make this particular link unique for our own API key, so we have to find a way to add a variable in here. Then because we don't want our system to only be able to convert USD currency alone, so that was why we removed the USD. Then I said we are going to be adding the from currency behind this particular place later on with Python. So I said in my own logic, I want to create this what's it called, program with two functions. One, the function that is going to run everything, then secondly, it's function that is going to do the logic, the conversion for us. So that is what we are about to do right now. We've asked users to type in the currency they are converting from, the currency they are converting to, then the amount. But I decided to handle errors here before it happens because some persons might be typing letters instead of digits. So whatever it is they type, I am passing it into that function we want to start to, we want to start working on right now. Then whatever is coming from that function, we are storing it into or inside a variable result. So that's a recap of what we've done so far. So we are here. Aha, so the reason why I returned these three values is just for us to see that, okay, what we are typing or what we are passing here is actually getting to this part, right? But what we want to do actually is, to find a way to run the conversion, right? So I'm just going to remove all this for now. Yeah. Then let me even remove the return set, right? So what we want to do right now is, remember, I said this is the base URL. I removed the USD here. So now I want to find a way to add the USD back to this. But I don't want to add USD. I want to add the from currency. Because from their platform, this USD is the from currency users are typing. So what I want to do is I want to do something like I want to use an F string, then the base URL, which is this curly braces, base URL. Then how do I add from currency behind this? I think the only thing that is missing from here is a forward slash from currency. Are we still together, please? Are we still together, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I want to use Python to add the forward slash from currency to this. That is what I'm doing. So I want to create another variable. I want to call it URL equals to this. So our complete URL is this base URL. then forward slash from currency. So what I've done is I've basically just achieved this same thing I was trying to do. But what I've done is I've made mine dynamic. What I'm trying to say in essence is, let me print this so we can see what I'm trying to say. So if I print URL, remember this is, the similar link we are trying to achieve, but we don't want USD to always be behind our own latest. If I type pounds, then pounds should be behind this. If I type USD, then USD should be behind this. If I type Nigeria, NGN, then NGN should be behind this. So I'm trying to regenerate that same link using Python here. So I decided to use an F string. So I pass this base URL. Remember, the base URL is the one without this. Then how do I achieve this? It's just by putting forward slash, then the currency that is responsible for this, which is this. So now let me run this, then we'll see. So the from currency in this case is what? USD. Enter. The total currency maybe GBP. Enter. Then the amount 67. Then enter. You can see I'm printing this URL now. You can see their website link v6. This is my API key. Remember, I've appended my API key to that link. Then latest, then USD because my from currency is USD. Now let me run it again, then make my from currency to be NGN. So I'm going to do NGN, enter. Then where am I converting to? GBP, enter. Then I want to convert 8 naira. You can see behind of that latest is now NGN. So this is better than the link they provided for us, right? So because people would not always want to convert from USD. So the way we just made it means whatever it is they are converting from, we are adding it dynamically at the end of the URL they provided for us, which is better than this. So it means our own system can always change depending on our API key and depending on the currency we are converting from. So we've now gotten our own real URL, right? So now what we want to do is, this URL has a bunch of information. This link in itself has a whole lot of information, right? If you actually want to know what I mean, let me copy this. Hey, I want to copy this link that I just generated here. I'll copy this, then I'll go to my browser, then I'm going to go to this place, then I'm going to paste that here, then tap enter. You can see all the information that this link has, right? First, it said result is success. The documentation is from this website that I'm getting the API key from. Terms of use, all this one. So they've actually updated the rates. So it is now reflecting Saturday 30th May 2026, right? So now these are the conversion rates. NGN is 1 because I'm converting from Naira. If I'm converting from dollars, then you see USD 1 here. So let's see the current rate of USD to $1. Yeah, so it inverted it, right? So if I were to do USD to Naira, I would have been seeing 1000 plus and something like that. You know what? Let me change this to USD so we can see. I don't want to run the application again. You can see USD, we are converting from USD, right? So now let's see the value of 1 USD to Naira. Let me do NGN. You can see, so this is the current rate of Naira to 1 USD, right? So it means these rates are actually solid, they are real. Let me check for Canadian dollars. So 1 USD to 1 Canadian dollars is 1.37. Are we still together, please?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, we are.
So
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to show us that the link is actually working, right? The link I got by printing this URL here. So it is returning real rate. But that is not what we want. Like right now. What we want is we want to do the calculation ourselves, right? So that is where we are going to. So since this link is working, our request is working, what we want to now do is, remember from the documentation, where's the documentation again? Yeah, it said once we've run it, this is what is going to return. Then we want to get some kind of contents from this particular URL, right? We want to use the request we imported to get. Remember when we did dir of request, there was a particular get method there. So we want to use the get method from request to fetch some kind of data from that URL, right? Then we want to store it inside a variable response. So that is what we are doing next. So I'm going to go ahead and do something like this and say the same request module, we want to use the get method of it to fetch from that URL. Then we want to store it inside a variable response, right? Then we want to print and see what is coming from that response, right? Remember, everything is step by step if you don't want to get confused, right? And one beautiful thing is whenever you're consuming API in Python, it follows similar pattern. Most often times it follows similar pattern unless you want to change the pattern, right? So which is why it needs some getting used to. Once you've gotten used to, okay, you fetch first, then use the get method, then you convert to JSON and so on and so forth. It usually follows the same method as long as you are using Python, right? So we are using the request module to get some kind of data from that URL. Then we are storing it inside a response variable. Then we are just printing the response. So now let's run it again and see what we have. So it says enter the currency you're converting from. Let me do USD. Enter the currency you're converting to. Let me do Naira, which is NGN. Then how many do you want to convert? I want to convert 5. So now it says response 200. Anytime you are using an API and you get response 200, it means it was a success. That is basically what response 200 mean. Let me see if they return it here. Okay, they didn't return it here. But the interpretation of that response 200 is just this success message here. So anytime you're consuming an API and you get any kind of response that is not 200, just know that something is terribly wrong with your API. Either maybe you were not connected to the internet, or there was some sort of error, right? That is why you're not getting response 200. But response 200 is machine code, right? Anytime you're seeing response 400, 403, 404, 200, all those things are machine code. We as humans don't understand that kind of response, right? But this, trust me, this response has some kind of data inside it. How do you know? Let me do dir of this response. So you see the plenty data that is inside that response. So I'm going to just run this. Then enter the currency you're converting from. So USD, currency you're converting to, I want to do CAD. Then how many units? I'm going to do 7. Okay, so let me go from where the double underscore ends. You can see, so the response 200 is returning this, all these ones, and it is returning one important method also, which is JSON. Are we still together, please? Are we still together, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so these are the methods that the response 200 is returning. Remember, I said response 200 is a matching code, right? JSON, as I said, means JavaScript object notation, right? What JSON do is JSON method converts a machine code into a human readable data, So we are going to be using this JSON to convert this response 200 later on. But there's this particular method also, status code. This status code is what is returning 200, right? Remember, this is method, right? So this status code is what is returning 200. For instance, if I were to do response, remember all these ones are methods, so it means they would always be dot what them, right? So I can do status code. So if I print this, we should be getting 200. So that status code is what is storing the 200. So let me run it again. USD CAD then 9. You can see 200. So this status code is what is returning that 200. The reason why I decided to print it is because I want to now use this status code to create a conditional statement for if there's an error. Confusing, yeah, but let me write the code so you understand what I mean. So let me comment this. So since the response is now returning 200, right? So now I want to say if response dot status code is not equals to 200. This is what I mean. So initially we want response 200. So if response is 200, it means we are good, it is a success. But then I want to provide an alternative response. That's if there's an error. That is what I'm trying to catch here. So I'm saying if response.status code is not equals to 200, it means there's an error. So what do I want to do? I want to print that error to the user. So I want to say error. How will I even interpret this? I could say maybe error currency could not be we are not even converting yet, so I could just say remember, you can just interpret the error as you think, or I could just do something like this: error fetching the currency rate. Right. The reason why I do not want to say error could not convert is because we've not even done any conversion yet, right? So it's easier just saying error fetching the currency rate, right? So I want to create two conditions first. This first one is if there's an error. That is why I said if response.status code is not equals to 200. Remember, if it is equals to 200, it means it is a success. But if it is not equals to 200, it means there's an error. So first, I want to show them this error so as not for them to continue with the entire system. I want to exit them by using return. So I don't want to return alone. I want to return a particular result. So I'm just going to say return none. The reason why I'm saying return none is because later on here, remember, we have to return some sort of results, right, into this result variable. That is why I am returning none. You can decide to return a string. Just know that whatever it is you're returning here, we are going to be using that to catch the result here later on. But I prefer to just return none if there's an error for me, right? You can return whatever it is you want if there's an error. So if the response is not 200, it means there's an error. So we print this, then we return none. Then here, instead of doing else, it is shaku shaku developers that will do something like this. Why? Because if there's an error, of course Python will run this. If there's no error, then Python will run what is inside this else. But then there's one other logic to it, right? Now let me remove this else. If there's an error, this return in itself is doing the work of exiting them from this place. So if I type something here, it means if there's an error, they would never be able to see this. Why? Because they would have been exited at this point. But if there is no error, it means Pac-Man will continue down up to this place. Are we still together, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's the reason why I don't want to put else. But if you want, you can just put else here. But this is how you know the upcoming developers from the ones that actually know what they are doing. There is no need for else here, even though you can. Why? Because of this return here. As this, the moment Pacman sees return, it will exit, it will consume all these things, then it will exit this function, right? So for us to type any kind of code in here, it means for Pacman to be able to interpret this place, it means it wouldn't have entered this block. So that is why me, I'm not putting else here, right? So now here, if there is no error, that is what we want to do right now. So if there is no error, what we want to do is that same response, that is 200, right? That is machine code. We want to now use that JSON method to convert it into something we can read. So I'm going to store this inside a variable data. Let me put some space in here, right? So since there is no error, that same response 200, we want to convert it to JSON. Remember, JSON is a method to convert a machine code into human readable data, right? So I'm using this JSON to convert this response into something we can read. Then I'm storing it into a data variable. So now let's print that data variable now to see what is inside it. Right, you can see how I'm doing everything step by step, right? I could just go ahead and start typing the code without printing everything each step, but I print each step so we can see what we are getting before we proceed, right? So now let me run this. So enter the currency you're converting from. I want to do USD. Currency you're converting to, I want to do Naira. Then the amount you want to convert, I want to do 5. Then enter. You can see all the rates it is returning. You can see that these are the rates that we saw on the website earlier when I copied that link. You can see it says result. Remember, what is returning all these things is 200, but 200 is machine code, right? So what is returning all these ones is that 200, but we are getting the simplified version because we converted it using JSON. So you can see all the rates of all those 160, wait, I think 165 currency in the world that this is returning for us. But now see the thing here, curly braces here, curly braces here, it means a dictionary. There's an inner curly braces here, means a nested dictionary. Let me see if there's a list inside this place. There are sometimes you see a list inside a dictionary, which is why it is important to know how to fetch data from a dictionary, how to fetch data from a list, how to fetch data from a nested list or a nested dictionary. All those things that we're treating that time, it is because there's a reason for that, and these are the reasons for that. If you are struggling with nested dictionary, then you are going to struggle with this aspect of project also. Yeah, so as you can see, all these ones are dictionaries, so we are going to be fetching these rates and all using the methods we learned when we treated dictionary. All right, so as we saw now, right, so this data variable is what is storing all these things, right? But then there's a particular key here that we can use to return an error. Where is that key again? Yeah, key of results. You can see it here. So what I want to do right now, it is optional, but if you want to do it, you can do it if you want. So I want to now say if, remember the data, the variable storing that entire data is what? Data variable. Then the key is what? Result. So I want to say if the key of result is not equals to a string of success, then what happens? It means I want to print an error to the user. So what is the error I want to print to the user? I want to say something like error fetching the conversion rate. So I want to say error fetching the, or I could say error, since I've used fetching earlier, so I could say error getting the conversion rate. Then what do I want to do after? Still, after showing them this error, the same thing I did earlier, I want to return none because I want to exit them from the entire system, right? But if you look at this thing very carefully, that was why I said it is optional. This is looking like what we did here, but with different methods. Here, we were using the response 200 code to, create the conditional statement for if there's an error. Here, we are using this key of result that is equals to success, because if it was not a success, then this result will be equals to an error. So it is optional. You can either do this or you can either do this. It's still checking for the same thing. Are we still together, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's either these two because it's like a repetition of code, right? So it means if there's an error, we want to print this, then we want to return none. So we are exiting them while also displaying none, right? Remember, we are going to catch that none here later on. Okay, so if there is no error, it means I can shift to the left. So if there's no error, what do we want to do, right? It means we want to fetch, first and foremost, we want to fetch, this is where it will now get really, really complicated, right? Let me expand this a bit. If you want to convert maybe $5 to naira, it means you are going to be doing two things. You are going to carry that amount, right? You are going to be multiplying it with the rate. So if the rate of dollar is say 1,300, let's assume 1,300, it means you are going to be multiplying 5 of the amount they want to convert by the current rate. That is how we normally convert. If they ask you to convert $10 to naira, you are going to be multiplying the $10 by the current rate of dollars, right? That is how it is. So it means the amount that we have in here, we are going to be multiplying it by the current rate. So now we need to find a way to be able to go inside this dictionary and get the current rate using this key of current rate. See the key of current rate here. The key of current rate here is what is equals to another inner dictionary. See the inner dictionary here that is ending here, right? So it means this current rate dictionary is nexted inside bigger dictionary of data. Now we are beginning to speak in tongues. But it's not so complicated anyway because we've done something like this on that dictionary, right? I think here's what I'm going to do so we won't get confused, right? So let me peel it layer by layer. We want to enter that dictionary. To enter that dictionary, we'll do data. It will enter this big dictionary. Then inside that big dictionary, there's a key of result here that is equals to a value of success. That was what we did here. So we've entered that inner dictionary. Then there's also a key of documentation that is equals to this. There's a key of terms of use that is equals to this. There's a key of which one again? Let me see the next key. There's a key of base code that is equals to this. Then there's a key of conversion rates that is equals to an inner dictionary. So what I'm going to do is I want to enter this inner conversion rate. So let me go ahead and print. I want to print data. Then I want to pass a key of conversion rate inside. So at least we are going to see what is coming from that place. So let me run this. Then enter the currency you're converting from, USD. Currency you're converting to NGN, which is Naira. Then I want to convert $5 to Naira. So I'll tap 5, then enter. Now you can see now it is not returning the result equals to success, the documentation equals to this anymore. Why? Because I have successfully entered the inner dictionary, right? So that is why I said, entering nested dictionary can be a bit complicated, but just take it step by step, right? So now inside this, what's it called? Inner dictionary, what we want to do is all these ones you're seeing here, this AED, AFN, they are country codes. But they are which country codes? They are country codes of what, or the country codes of what we are converting to. Remember, the from currency is, this particular one that we're converting from, right? But all these ones here, they are the countries we are converting to. Let me see if I can locate naira. Yeah, see naira here. You can see, so this is the current rate, this is the toll currency. Remember when I typed USD as the currency I'm converting from, then NGN as the currency I'm converting to. So that particular country I'm converting to, these are those country codes. You can see NGN. So it means to enter or to pick any of all these country codes or any of all these rates, it means I have to what? Enter the nexted one, which is what? Toll currency. So this data currency rate is returning all these ones. To pick any of these currency rates, you pass in the currency you're converting to. If it was KZT that I passed, it means I want to get 486. If it is MKD, I pass. I don't know any of all these countries though. If it is MKD I passed, it means I want to return 53. If it is NGN I passed, it means, remember, we want to multiply the amount by this rate. This particular one is going to always return a rate, right? So if it is NGN I passed, it means if I print this, it is going to return 1371. If it is VUV country code I passed, it means it is going to return 118. Are we still together, please? Before we start calculating.
Yes, sir.
All right. Remember, the aim is to get the rate. All these ones are rates. So whichever rate the user has typed when they are running the application, which is this, we are trying to say, okay, Python, now take that particular country code and get the rate for that particular country code, right? So now let me run this, or let me clear the terminal first and foremost. So I'm going to clear, then I'm going to run this. So I want to convert to I want to convert from USD, enter, then I want to convert to Naira, enter, then I want to do 1 USD to 1 into Naira. So that is what I'm converting, then enter. You can see, so this is the rate. But remember, we are not done. Python just went inside that dictionary and got the current rate of $1 to Naira for us. But what if the person typed 5? So it means they want 5 of this. That is the conversion they want. So it means instead of this place that we are printing this, what we want to do is to get the current rate, we are multiplying the amount by the rate of that particular thing, right? So this is what is going to return. It depends on how you want it to be. You know what? Let me simplify this. First and foremost, before converting, let me do this. Rate equals to this, right? So if we had gone ahead and print rate, then it will return the current rate of maybe pounds, the current rate of dollars, the current rate of naira, and so on and so forth. So this is only ever going to return the rates. Why? Because the conversion rate, which is a dictionary, then whatever it is users type as the currency they are converting to, Python will take it and it will pick the current rate from that dictionary. If it is naira they typed, it is to pick the current rate of naira, which is this, against USD. If it is Canadian dollars they typed as a total currency, it will pick the current rate against the currency they are converting to. They are converting from, right? So that is the rate, which is this. But then our own aim is the conversion. So how do we get the conversion? The conversion is the amount, the type, multiplied by the rate. This is how we normally calculate the conversion to different currencies. If I ask you to convert $2 to naira, you are going to take the 2, then you are going to multiply it by the current rate of naira, right? So that is how, or that is why I'm multiplying the amount they type by the current rate that we get here. Then this is what I want my function to return, right? But in your own case, you can decide to put, you can do something like this and say maybe, you can say maybe results equals amount multiplied by rate. Then you are now returning that result. Or you can even say maybe conversion equals the amount multiplied by the rate. Or you can just go ahead and return amount times rate. It depends on what you want, right? So that is what I want this my function to return. Remember, whatever this function is returning, this our run function is collecting it inside this result variable. So the conversion that is coming from here, so if the person typed maybe 5, then they are converting from USD, then they are converting to Naira. It means Python will take that 5 and multiply it by the current rate of USD to Naira. Then that is what the function is returning, right? So now what I want to do here inside the run function, remember this particular result variable we created earlier. So what I want to do here is I want to create a conditional statement, right? So I want to say if result, that's this particular result, is not known. That is how I want to handle this particular thing. You can say, remember, the reason why I'm checking if result is not known is because if there's an error here, I am returning none. If there's an error here, I am returning none. So if there is an error, it means in my own case, I am not creating a logic for it. I don't care about, well, I think I'm going to care. I'm going to create an else for it later on, right? But I want to do if there's a success first and foremost. So I'm saying if the result that is coming from here is not none, it means if there was a right conversion. What do I want to do? I want to do something like this. I want to print a statement that says, let me create the logic on how I want to do it. I want to, you can create it whichever way you want. Me, I want to do something like maybe 5 ngn equals, let me comment this, equals $5 to naira is like let's just assume it is like 7,000 plus, so 7,000 USD. So this is how I want to display my own result. Are we still together, please, before I continue?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is how I want to display my own result. In your own case, you might want to display your result as the conversion of 5 this to this is this. You can choose to make your own result in wordings, but me, I want my own to be like in this figure format. So I want the amount they want to convert. The oh, I switched it. This one is USD to this. So I want my own result to be like the amount they want to convert from the currency they are converting to is equals to the calculation, then the unit of the currency we are converting to, right? The reason why I decided to write it up here is because it's going to aid me when I'm creating the f string, right? So now let me create the f string here. So the 5 is the amount, so I'm going to bring in the curly braces. The amount, the type, then USD is the currency they are converting from, so it means another curly braces, which is what? From currency. Then equals to, right? So it means there's going to be an equals to here. Then this 7,000 is this result here. So I'm going to do curly braces, then result. Then this NGN is the unit of the currency you're converting to. So I'll do curly braces to currency. Remember, it's because of this is how I want my own result to be. If you want your own result to be in wordings form, wordings form, you are going to probably do something like an f string and say the conversion of what is coming next is the amount. You're going to do something like this: amount, then from, and so on and so forth, right? So it just depends on how you want to output your result, but I want mine to be as simple as this. So I want my result to be like the amount, then the amount of the currency from the type is equals to the result, which is the calculation, then the currency they converted to. But remember, this is if the result is not none, if there was no error. So now let me just create the else, right, for if there's an error. So at that point I want to do something like mm, mm, mm. Remember, if there's an error, first and foremost it would have printed the error, right, before none, right? So I could just go ahead and just do the generic error again. Error converting. Let me just stop at error converting here, right? So it just depends on what you want. Normally I don't usually output this. Why? Because the error I'm outputting it here already, right? So what I'm particular about is if result is not none, then I want to display this. Else, then maybe I want to display something like this, right? Are we still together, please, before I run it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now let me run this and we'll see. So let me clear the terminal first. So enter the currency you're converting from. The reason why I'm using USB to I said USB. The reason why I'm using USD to Naira is because at least if it is lying for us, we are going to know, right? I don't know the current rate of Zimbabwean dollars or something like that, but at least I know for USD. So the currency I'm converting from USD, the currency I'm converting to NGN, which is Naira. Then how many do you want to convert? I want to do $3 to Naira. Then enter. You can see it says 3 USD is equals to 4,115 point this NGN, right? And here's the thing, right? Remember, there is the exchange rate from our banks, there is the exchange rate from Bureau de Change, there is several exchange rates now, isn't it? Some of them they have like allowance of a few naira or so. If the exchange rate of this platform we are using, this exchange rate API, if it is too steep for you, you can just explore these other API platforms if maybe their own is closer to the real exchange rate you want. But trust me, there will be some allowance of a few naira, right? So the result is now saying 3 this is equals to this in naira, right? What's that to do for? I think we have a few minutes more, Abby.
Yes, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
15
we
minutes to
we
go.
are almost done. What is remaining is just Jara, right? Because we are done with creating our um, what is it called? Currency converter system. Now, here's the thing. This next part is for those people that will be like, yeah, I understand that Python is a backend language. Yeah, I understand that we are creating the logic that makes, for instance, what we just created right now is like the backend of, let me look for an online exchange rate, online exchange, exchange calculator. Let me look for any website, then we are going to, um, yeah, what we just created right now is like, oh, this one is so many moving parts. I want a very simple one. Yeah, so what we just created right now is like the backend to this website. It means they are going to select maybe the currency they want to convert from, the units, then this one is not even, there are some that it will require you to click on calculate before you calculate. Let me look for those ones. Hey, I'm working against time here. This one is sending money. Instead of calculate, it's saying send money. Uh, there are so many of those websites online, but I'm trying to exactly, yeah. So I want to reject. So what we just created is like the backend of something like this. So the amount, then where are we converting from? Maybe this. Where are we converting to? Maybe this. Then you click on calculate, right? So some person, so what we just did is the backend of what is making this thing run using this Python here. So some persons will be like, Mr. Shegun, yeah, I understand that. Okay, this is the backend, but it is ugly. We tested it, it works. So Python, the developers of Python were getting this request a lot that is there a way we can even just see how the entire thing will look like an app or like on a website, so at least we can just see how the entire thing is simulated. So now Python developers decided to create a library called Tkinter. So let's use ChatGPT and say, what is Tkinter? Hopefully we are going to be able to finish this before our time runs up. So it says Tkinter is Python's built-in library for creating graphical user interface. Graphical user interface just means everything you are seeing on this dashboard. We call it GUI. Are we still together, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can see it says
Yes,
GUI
sir.
is any application that has windows, buttons, text boxes, and all those stuff, right? So what can you build with Tkinter, calculator apps, and all those stuff, right? So Tkinter is like a framework. I'm not expecting anybody to go and learn Tkinter, please. Do not do that, right? Because Tkinter is just a framework. It's just for those people that are inquisitive to see how their program is working like an app, right? You can see TK. So please do not learn it. So how then do you use it? What I do is I just go ahead and copy all my code. So maybe this is my code, right? So I'll copy everything. Then I'll go on this particular platform and say, help me convert this my this my code using Tkinter. And please do not change my logic in the code. So it's just that I don't want it to change any of my logic, but Tkinter normally we add some few codes into our code. So I'm going to paste that, then I'm going to run it. Now let's see what we are going to get. You can see it says you don't need to change your conversion logic at all, just replace all this. So I don't want to replace all that because I'm not learning Tkinter. You can see from what it generated, first Tkinter is like a module, so it imported Tkinter using an alias. Then this, I don't want to know what these ones are doing, but this is my own code. This is my API key. This is the base URL I created. These are my functions. You can see, right? This is my second function I created. Now it is beginning to add its own logic here. That is what Tkinter does, right? Remember, it is a graphical user interface tool, right? So you can see all these things he added alongside it. I don't want to know how it works, but what me I want to do is I just want to copy this, and please just keep the backup of your code before you paste it, right? So ideally sometimes I just create a new file and paste it inside it, then I run it. Don't worry, once I paste this I'm going to undo it. So I'm going to paste that in there, then I'm going to run our code. The moment I run my code, now note what you are going to get. I've run it. Nothing will run in the terminal. What we are going to get instead is like a graphical user interface, right? So it says from currency, maybe I want to convert from USD to currency, I'm converting to Naira. Then the amount I want to do 10. Then once I click convert, it is going to convert it for me. So if I click, you can see it's even still using my own format I gave to it, which is the amount, the currency equals to the amount, then the currency. Yeah. So Tickinter is just like to give you something you can click, to give you an input. So it's just sort of like to just simulate how the thing will flow if it was like on a website or like an app. So whenever you're done, and some people would even go further and say, help me paint the color of that button. Let me paint it red or paint it blue. Then the input, let it be wider, let it be designed and stuff like that. All those ones are just designed. We are not interested in all those ones. We just want to simulate it in a graphical user interface to see how it works. So once you're done, making yourself feel happy and all, you could just go ahead and undo it so you can still have your code the way it was before. Yeah, so I just decided to just show us this for those persons that are inquisitive, to see how the graphical user interface of most of all these things are. But in essence, Python is just the backend language to how something like this works, right? So like this website now, right, for them to be able to convert, whichever currency anybody types and click on this, it could be that it is running on Python, it is running on PHP, it is running on Java and stuff like that. But there's a backend to this. The backend is what we've just created with this. Any question, please? Any question so far? Nobody's saying anything. But are we still together, please? If we don't have any question.
Yes, sir. Sir.
All right. So remember what I said when we started, right? Whenever you're consuming APIs in what's it called, Python, it will always follow the same process. First, you are going to be using an API key. That's if the platform has one. You are going to be using the URL. You are going to be using the get method if you want. Then fetch, request module and this and that, right? And please, if you are you are able to install requests, subsequently you don't have to keep installing requests. You only install it one time on your machine, right? You just need to keep importing the requests. Yeah. So what we are going to do is you just give me a few. I don't know how long it's going to take, right? Because YouTube has a way of having to verify the videos you are uploading, right? So you can just exercise some little patience for me. I'll try as much as possible to upload it in a few hours, but if it is taking too long, it might probably be before night. So please, I shall know that I'm going to upload it today. Yeah. So I'm going to be uploading the two links to the two YouTube videos. Then please just watch that and practice with it. Then on Monday, there's going to be a task for the week, right? The task for the week is going to be, I might just ask us to create like a weather system, right? So you're fetching weather from somewhere using an API. I don't know yet. I shall know there's going to be like a task for the week. Then once you're done, the usual, you push it to your GitHub repository. Remember, there's a reason for that, right? If you are even applying for maybe an internship somewhere, they would want to assess where you are currently. So how do they know where you are if they are not seeing that? that's the essence of having a GitHub repository, a GitHub profile that is in step by step, if I can use that word, right? What I mean by that is they would see where you started from. Back then, when you were creating a casual calculator, you were creating a normal grading system, right? Then they saw that you moved to something else. They saw that you moved to something else. Oh, they now saw that, oh, you are now working with an API, you are doing this. That is usually how the entire thing compounds, right? So I think that will be for Monday. But before then, just exercise some patience for me. I'm going to post the two links to the YouTube video so we can watch and practice with it, right? So yeah. So if there are no questions, but once while you're practicing, anywhere you're stuck or whichever errors you're getting, just screenshot it with your system, not using your phone to snap it, please, so it can be clear. Then paste the image, then the description of it in the group, then we can attend to that. Yeah, so I think that is where we are going to stop for today. And since there are no questions, I think we continue in the group, right? So enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.